Hi, I'm Sherry Kendall, and welcome to Hometown Salutes. Today, I have an Air Force veteran, Tonya Shepard Mendoza. Welcome, Tonya, to the show.
Thank you.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know you were born and raised in Connersville, and you graduated from Connersville
High school.
Senior High School. So, when did you decide to go into the Air Force?
Well, after I got out of high school, I was just working kind of a part-time job. I knew I needed something full-time, and somebody I work with, her spouse had been in the Air Force, and that's kind of what got me interested. So then I went and spoke to a recruiter, and it went off from there.
So why did you talk to anybody else besides the Air Force?
Well, I talked to a Navy recruiter, and at that time, women weren't allowed to be assigned to ships. So that just kind of felt silly to me to be in the Navy and never be able to go onto a ship. So that's when I decided to go in the Air Force.
Okay. So when you enlisted, do you remember anything special about that day that you enlisted?
Not really. I mean, it felt big, but yet at the same time, it wasn't like there were a lot of people around or, a lot going on. But yeah, it wasn't anything.
Were your parents supportive?
My mother was not. She wasn't happy about her daughter being in the military.
Right.
But, she, of course, came to, to appreciate it and, kind of changed her mind after a while. But initially, she was not happy.
And your siblings also were in the military, your brothers, correct?
My brother was in the Marines. My younger brother joined the Army, and then one of my other brothers, the middle one, went into the Army National Guard.
Okay. So you were the only one in the Air Force.
Right.
All right. So basic training for Air Force, where is that done at?
It's in San Antonio.
And that's still that way today?
Everybody goes through that base. Everybody that enlists does their basic training.
How long were you there? How long is basic training there?
It was 6 weeks.
And then after that, is that when you received specialized training?
Right, yeah.
So what specialized training did you go into?
I actually went as an aircraft electrician. I didn't know what that meant at the time. But then I went to Chanute Air Force Base in Illinois for 4 months for that training.
Okay, so what does that entail?
You do a lot of work on the electrical systems, but it's like there's big generators that you have to be able to wire. There's battery systems. And
you could do that?
Well, I did, yeah.
Wow.
Interesting story. I worked on KC-135, which is a refueler aircraft. It's really large. And when my son ended up joining, the aircraft he got assigned was the KC-135.
Oh, wow.
And because they're really old aircraft. So I told him, I said, if you look back through the logbooks far enough, you may find my name. I may have worked on one of the aircraft you're flying.
Oh, wow, that is really neat. So after your specialized training, you were stationed where?
In McConnell Air Force Base in Kansas, Wichita, Kansas.
Okay, is this where you met your husband?
Yes, that's where I met him.
And so he made a career
He did.
out of the military, and he was in for how many
24
years?
years.
24 years. Yeah. Okay, so what was his job? How did you guys meet? Did you meet
Well, at the time
while
we
working?
met, he actually drove a truck and drove the equipment, the specialized equipment we used on the aircraft out to the flight line, which is where I worked. And so that's how we met.
Oh, wow. So here's a couple of the pictures. So this is when you first joined.
That would have been one of my first, yeah. And then this was later on.
Okay. So that's when you first joined the service right out of high school.
Yeah.
Okay. You said you worked, you did the honor guard?
I was, yeah, I volunteered for the honor guard.
Wow.
So it was.
So you were in the service for, you said 9 years.
9 years, yeah.
And then your contract was up and it was time for you to re-sign up?
Yeah. I say 9 years because my 8 years were coming due, but I was pregnant. You don't get out of the military while you're under a medical situation.
Okay.
So when I found out at 8 years I was due to re-enlist, I found out that I had an assignment to go to Turkey. But I was pregnant at the time, and there was no job available for my husband to go to Turkey with me. So, I had the option, have the baby, take the baby without my husband and go to Turkey for 2 years. Or I could leave the baby and my husband and go to Turkey for a year. And so when I turned it down, because I was already, had already re-enlisted once, you have to get out if you turn an assignment down. So my 9 years came because I went ahead and had the baby, and then had some medical issues after that. So
And then it ended.
that got me That got me to the 9 years.
Okay. Wow. So after you had the baby, where were you stationed at that point?
We were stationed in D.C. at the time that I had the baby.
Okay.
Yeah, and then after I had the baby and got out, he got an assignment to Italy. So.
And you stayed in Italy for a while?
So we were there for 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you just stayed on the civilian side doing
I took a government position.
job?
Yeah, and just stayed with the government after that.
Okay. So on this one page, there is a picture of you. This is when you were pregnant, right
Yeah,
here?
that's me when I was pregnant.
Aw. All right, so you completed 9 years. So how was the Air Force experience? How did that affect your life?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. I would have stayed in. I would have been a career. Yeah, I'm sure if things had not, worked out the way they did, I would have stayed in.
So are there any life lessons that you learned from your time in the military?
Timeliness. You do things on time. You're not late. And I think that you meet so many different people from so many different areas that have so many backgrounds. I just think it kind of expands, your knowledge and the way you look at people, and
Yeah.
it was very much a positive experience.
So when you stayed on the in the barracks, I guess they separated the guys from the girls.
Yeah.
So was your barracks full? Because was there a lot of women?
It was, there were.
In that time?
Most of us had roommates, and yeah.
Were you treated okay with the guys?
Oh yeah, I think they were. Yeah, I didn't have any problems particularly that I can remember. I mean, I don't have any bad feelings or didn't feel like that there was anything wrong.
They just treated you like one of the guys?
Yeah, I think for the most part, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think you have to be careful.
Right.
You're one of however many. So, you just have to kind of watch yourself and, be aware of your surroundings and.
Right. Wow. So after the service, you took several government jobs, but then before you retired and you were at this job for over 13 years, it was Sitcom Central Command.
It was Central Command,
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I kind of Googled Central Command, and it says the portion of the U.S. military that's responsible for protecting American security interest in all the areas stretching from the Horn of Africa to Central Asia. So the command headquarters is located at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida, and that's where you reside at today.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what did you do for this company? Because we have a lot of neat pictures to look at.
I worked for the protocol.
And what does that mean exactly?
We take care of any visitors that come in to see the commander. We set up all their social interactions if they're having dinners or if they're hosting a conference or, whatever they're doing. We do all the planning and all the arranging for that.
And so you had to get gifts?
Right, and then, whenever our commander traveled, he always, gift exchanges were big in the Middle East. So we had to go out and research and try to find gifts that we thought were appropriate
To give to these other
to give to
other
to their
country
counterparts.
commanders.
Right.
So how many different commanders were you under?
I worked for 4 different commanders while I was there.
Okay.
No, 5. I'm sorry, 5. Yeah.
And who were they?
I worked for General Zinni was my first one, then General Abizaid, then General Petraeus, then General Franks, General Shelton. Oh my gosh, there were more. There was General Austin. I'd forgotten how many there were.
Wow. So a couple of the things that you saw some famous people. So here I think we have Lee Greenwood.
Yeah, he visited.
So where'd he visit at? At Central Command?
Yeah.
In Tampa?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he sing for you guys?
Yes, he did. Yes.
Did he?
Yes.
You had a lot of neat, I saw you were admitted to some tickets for when George W. Bush came.
Yeah.
So these were parties that you.
Well,
were
when
not
he came,
parties,
they
but-
always tried to make sure that someone from protocol was there near where he was, so we could, you call ahead, say, okay, he's on the move, Anyway, yeah.
So that seems like a stressful job.
It was. It was. But,
So here's another where George W. Bush came in 2003, 2004. This was 2006. Willie Nelson.
yeah.
And you have a signed bandana,
Yeah.
right? From Willie
him.
Nelson.
Yeah. He's a nice guy.
And he sang for you guys as
Yeah,
well?
he performed. Yeah, he stayed quite a while.
Did he?
Yeah, he had an event downtown and we were trying to get him out of there, but he wasn't going to leave until everybody got signatures or pictures, whatever they wanted. He was fabulous, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's really neat. So these are a couple of your
Yeah, that would have been, yeah.
commanders?
Yeah, General Abizaid and General Austin, who is currently the SecDef, yeah.
He's currently now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can recognize the one in the bottom picture. That's
General Mattis.
Mattis?
Yeah, and then that's General Shelton.
so Mattis was under Trump.
Yes, yeah, he was the SecDef under Trump.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So I see here is
Giuliani.
Giuliani.
yeah.
So what's he doing here? What are you guys doing?
They're just departing General Shelton's house after a dinner that they had for him, that they hosted for him.
Okay. And you just had to make sure everything was right.
Right,
And
yeah.
perfect and.
Yeah.
So this is a lot of the people that you worked with.
Right, yeah. That's office staff.
Wow. I thought this was neat. The General Mateus,
General Mattis.
Mattis, I'm sorry, that he wrote on here to Tonya for hundreds of functions for thousands of
Visitors.
Thank you because you're the hostess with the mostest. How cool is that?
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
That's really neat. So during your time working for CENTCOM, you traveled
Yeah.
quite a bit. What was your favorite? What's one of your favorite places? Do you have a favorite or not
gosh.
really?
I don't know that I can rank them. Every country I went to was, unique and interesting, and I'm not sure that I can say I had a favorite.
Right. So is it because of your enlistment in the Air Force? Is that what brought you to this job?
Well, I think ultimately, yeah, because you move around different jobs and you meet different people. I mean, I got this job because of people that I met.
Along the way?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's zebras. So where we
was in that was in Nairobi.
Nairobi. And did you stay there long?
We were there a couple weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
Because they actually opened an education center there, and they were going to do a formal ribbon cutting, and so there were going to be dinners and various things that were going to take place before that.
Okay. It looks like you rode a camel.
Yeah. I think that was in Bahrain.
Bahrain?
I think so, yeah. There were camels in a few of the countries, so it's hard to remember.
So when you went to these other countries, did they treat you with respect?
Oh, yeah, they were, yeah. I never had any problem. It was good.
Did you ever have to cover up?
No.
Okay.
No. I think Saudi's the only one that requires that of females.
Okay.
And I didn't ever go to Saudi.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was in Egypt, I would say.
Yeah. It was Cairo, yeah.
Wow. Where are you at? Is that
This may have been Bahrain. This is definitely, of course, you could see Egypt.
Egypt? Yeah. So when you go to places like this, did your husband travel? You and
No.
your family?
Oh, no.
You would just go
Yeah.
because you were
Yeah.
working and
Right.
setting up?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you set up security? And
Well, security went with us, so that was part of what had to happen. Is that you had to make sure that wherever they moved, you were going to have security available.
What did you ever see any presidents? Did any presidents ever visit you?
Oh yeah, well, President Bush, yeah.
Both
was there.
Bushes?
Yeah, they were there, yeah.
Okay. So this is like what kind of race is that they did?
Oh, well, we were in Qatar, and I don't know what the race was called, but there were horses. They were racing for miles. And
you guys rode in a Jeep?
right, and then so they had Jeeps, and we followed the horses, through the desert, over the desert, over the dunes. It was fun. It was cool to watch.
Was there a lot of people, like a lot of Jeeps and stuff follow?
Oh, there were bunches of people, yeah. And they had this big, huge tent set up out in the desert and carpet on the floor, every inch of it, because they serve food and drinks out there. And
wow.
they go all out when they entertain the visitors.
Huh. So was there a language barrier? Or
They always spoke English, so
most of them
yeah,
always
everywhere, yeah. Because
So
I
they
don't
were-
speak another language. I don't speak Arabic.
Oh, you don't?
No. You learn a few words here and there, but
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I know one time that you were overseas, your sister had you bring us back gifts, and this
Yeah.
is one of the gifts.
Yeah.
I don't know what it says on the front. I'm thinking
It's
my
your
name.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
It's cartoon. Yeah. I'm
And then my
sure,
name
yeah.
was on the back, so
Yeah.
that was always really special, and that came from you. So, it came from Teresa, but
Yeah.
you bought it over. Do you know where you were at? Can you remember?
I was Bahrain, Qatar.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So cool.
Jordan.
It's one of my favorite pieces of jewelry. So, here's circulation coins. So you were in Tonga?
No, they were actually one of our coalition countries, and when our coalition countries after 9/11, we started getting people coming in from various countries that were supporting the effort, and so at the time we didn't have a coalition office, so the protocol office had to greet them and get them settled, and so they would just give us various gifts, thanking us for what we did.
Wow. And so here's another one, Egypt
Right.
coins. So you were working during 9/11?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So did things change after
things
9/11?
got crazy quickly. Yeah, it was really a stressful time. We were, because, we had over 40 countries that sent representatives. So we were working, 12-hour days, just trying to make sure they all got in, they all got settled. So it was a madhouse, yeah.
Wow. So I'm thinking, is that you on a camel?
No, I'm not on that camel.
Where are you at here?
That may have been Egypt also.
That's Egypt?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
So is this person somebody that you worked with, or is that
They took us out for a day to go seeing things, and
Sightseeing?
he was one of the guides that kind of took us around it.
Wow. And so here's the kids.
That's Nairobi.
Nairobi?
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
And not sure. You think that's Nairobi too?
I don't know. That may have been Jordan.
Okay. Wow.
I just
Look
don't
at all
know,
the
yeah.
places you visited.
Yeah.
I just cannot
I was
even imagine.
fortunate to see the things I did, and it was just, you just kind of luck into it.
And so you want to tell
The
anything?
Sphinx, yeah, the Sphinx, and then one of the tombs that we went into.
So your son, he chose to follow in your footsteps, and so he went into the Air Force.
Yeah.
Is he making it a career? Like, how long has he been in as of now?
Well, when because he was very fortunate that ROTC paid for his college, and then of course, the pilot training. So he had a 12-year commitment.
Oh, wow.
So he did those 12 years and then got out, but joined a reserve unit as a civilian, pretty much doing the same thing he was doing in the Air Force. But then they activated, so now he's back on active duty.
He's back.
Yeah.
So he's had, you said, like 15 years?
Yeah, it'll be, probably by the time he comes off this commitment, it'll be 15 years that he'll have in.
And you think he'll stay in?
Well, he's definitely going to stay in the reserves.
Okay.
Yeah. And continue working as, a government job for them.
So here he is when President Bush.
Yeah, visited. Yeah.
Yep. And then we got a picture of him.
That's the aircraft he's currently flying.
That's what he's currently flying?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how old is he?
He's 36.
He's 36.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So another thing that is pretty neat to see is they're called challenge coins.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
want to tell us what challenge coins are?
Various commanders and various people are authorized to have coins made. And so, if you do a good job or, like you hosted their visit or, when I say hosted, I mean you were primarily in charge of arranging their itinerary for their visit, they would give you their coin. It's just kind of as a thank you, good job, whatever. And they call them challenge coins because if you go like to a bar or something and somebody pulls one out and lays it down, if everybody else doesn't produce one, they have to buy the drinks if somebody there doesn't have one. Or if everybody has one, whoever has the highest coin as far as the, this is a 4-star versus your 3-star.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, then anyway, whoever has the lowest challenge coin has to buy.
Well, I know you said this one right here is pretty special.
That's from my son's pilot training class.
Pilot training class.
Yeah, they made a coin.
Wow, that's neat. So is there any one along here that means a lot?
Well,
that was
I
something
worked for
special?
General Shelton when he was a 4-star at Central Command, and then he became chairman of the Joint Chiefs and came back for a visit, and so I have his coin from when he was chairman.
I thought the Secret Service. You have a couple Secret Service.
We work really closely with the Secret Service when the presidents visit, because they come ahead and check everything out and make all their arrangements. So, yeah, I have their coin.
You have Donald Rumsfeld.
Yeah.
So did you meet him?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he came to Central Command?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, all these coins were people that came to the command.
I thought the Camp
Well,
David.
except for Camp David. This guy was Secret Service, and he had been, he worked at Camp David and had had some of these extra coins.
Wow, this is really special that you have such a neat collection of these challenge coins. What is this one?
Oh, that's probably one of our commanders.
General Tommy Franks.
Yeah.
Commander. Yeah. So, are you glad you joined the military?
Oh, without question. Yeah. Yeah. It was, the rest of my life is kind of based on the fact that I joined the military. I mean, everything that happened after joining is...
Met your husband,
Yeah,
kids.
my husband, my children, the travel. I can't imagine where I would have been if I had not joined the military and, stayed here or whatever.
Right. So, one of the things you said, I asked you, one of the questions was, is there something funny about basic training that had happened to you?
Yeah. We were in basic, and we were about halfway through. We were probably at our 3rd week mark. And I don't know, our TI was upset, our technical instructor was upset. I don't know what we had done wrong, but we get back to the barracks, and she's angry, and she's yelling at us, and she's like, go upstairs and pack all your stuff, you're out of here. We were all in a dead panic. It's like, oh my gosh, we don't want to start basic over. Anyway, so we did. We went up and packed our duffel bags and, marched out and standing there, and she goes and gets in a car and she drives away. It was like, oh my gosh, now what are we supposed to do? And another TI happened to come along a little bit later because we were just standing there, and she's like, why are you out here? What is going on? So we explained to her, and anyway, so we never saw that TI again.
Oh, you didn't?
She never came back, no. I think she just kind of had a meltdown, and we were just...
And that was it.
In the way, yeah.
That's funny.
It was...
And then another
awful.
thing you said, I asked you about classes that you took in basic training, and you said the guys would have one class.
Well, the women at the time, we didn't shoot. We didn't go out to the range and shoot, so...
Is there a reason, like they wouldn't allow
I don't
women
know.
to
I guess
shoot?
women at the time were never going to go to war or something. I don't know. But so we took a class on applying makeup. It was crazy. Yeah,
So was it a full class?
We're in the military, and you're teaching us how to put on makeup. Yeah.
That's hysterical.
I don't know. I didn't find it funny, but anyway.
So eventually, did you ever get to shoot? Have training
Yeah,
for that?
at one point we were required to, because I don't know, I guess because where we worked, we qualified at one point. Yeah.
So you probably saw a lot of changes from the time that
yeah.
you went into the
Yeah.
service as a woman, and
Huge.
what other women nowadays.
Right. Yeah. There's been a lot of changes, but because they're trying to make things, I think, more equal.
Right.
And like women now, of course, are on ships. They now have, they do the same thing as men do as far as, qualifying and basic training. So, yeah, it's been a whole
So
different.
everything's equal rights
Yeah.
now, and
Right.
wow, that's interesting. So now you're residing in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
still have family here in Connersville,
Yeah.
and
All my siblings are still here.
okay.
Yeah.
So we were really lucky to get you to come and join us to share your experience with us, and I can't really thank you enough for that.
Well, you can thank my sister.
Yeah. That's awesome, though. I mean, you're a hometown girl from Connersville, and look what you've experienced.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you again for sharing your experience in the service with us. I want to thank you for your service and your sacrifice.
Thank you.
And one other thing I did want to share was you do a lot of community service in Tampa.
I do now. Yeah. Yeah. Now that I retired.
So you did like the Ronald McDonald House.
Yeah.
You do.
I do
kind
a
of-
food bank, a food pantry. Yeah. St. Vincent de Paul.
Okay.
Yeah. A food pantry with them. Yeah.
Is that something that's done daily? Like you're.
No, we do weekly. We have a
Weekly.
weekly food pantry. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's every Friday. Yeah. But then we go in. It usually involves a couple days a week because you go in ahead of time and we have to, stock the shelves and make sure we have the food that we need, and and then Fridays when we have the actual food bank.
Have you seen a lot of that has changed because of COVID? Like, did you get a lot busier?
Yeah, because we used to interview the families before, just trying to get a background on them. And of course, you want to know how many people are in the family and stuff, but trying to get a background. But of course, after COVID, we just did the drive up. They drive up in the car, we ask how many people are in the family, and we bring the food out, put it in the trunk, and they drive away.
Well, it's crazy times, isn't it?
So, yeah.
I mean-
But we're looking now, maybe next month, of going back, hopefully, to doing interviews and kind of trying to go back to what we used to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've really done a lot. I mean, you served your country. Now you're serving in your community and doing really a lot of things. And I just want to thank you for that
Well,
because that's awesome.
It's what I had always hoped to do when I retired, was to volunteer.
Right. Well, I just want to thank you again, and be sure to tune in next month for another edition of Hometown Salutes.